Well, hello. Grabbed two items today. As you can see, could not be any more different. We have the high-minded Risk intellectual property, and then we have the lowly Bratz intellectual property. If you like toy content, you like reseller content, board game content, like, subscribe, comment. I really appreciate that. And why don't we dig into the car first? Well, this thing barely fits on my desk. So this picked up today. It's enormous. The car is 18 inches long. So this is the company's MGA. MGA made Bratz, which were really popular 2002, and then I believe it became LOL dolls, or they may have existed at the same time. MGA makes kind of like throwaway stuff now, surprise packs and things like that. But this was their banger back in the day, Bratz. We don't know a lot about this car. A couple of people in the store kept picking it up and putting it back. It was $6. And I grabbed it, did a quick search, and saw that they can go for $50. So on principle, I picked it up. I don't really know what it is. So what I know, it's pretty intricate. It's actually like nice. I don't know if these stickers are supposed to be there or if somebody wanted to decorate, so I'm not taking them off yet. This is the Bratz logo, some stars, some like patterns, flames on the door. So the door's open. There are working buttons inside. So pretty nice, honestly. You have a glove box that opens, shuts. There's controls on the windows. The stick shift clicks and moves. Now, the radio can be played, I believe, or do something. Headlights can turn on, I think. And I wasn't sure if it was a remote car. It didn't have that selector, the, was it like 2.5 to 5.5? I think it's like a signal setting. It doesn't have that. And then, if you look, the wheels move with the steering wheel, but they barely move. So if this was an RC car, this thing couldn't do anything but go straight or, barely not straight. It couldn't do loops. It would be a really terrible RC car. And also, like, the crossover between girls and RC cars, I think is pretty limited, I would guess. Looks like the steering wheel cover came off. But there's a steering wheel cover. Like it's a pretty nice toy. Whatever, I'll have to mess with that. So the trunk opens. And why I know there's lights and stuff is it says what everything does. There's a sticker inside that says scan, reset, radio off, low, high, lights off, on. It doesn't say anything about a remote. This is where the batteries go. So let's bust this open. This is really awkward to get into. The trunk actually doesn't open all the way. So 22-year-old car. I'm really hoping nobody left batteries in this. Because at $6, I don't know if there's any value to this if it doesn't work. If you see $50, generally you could get something out of it. There are people that, oh no, these are bad. Oh. So generally, something that high of a price tag, people are willing to solder to fix it. And this is probably going to be a real problem. You can see two of those batteries completely exploded. I'll pry those out as carefully as I can. So when you take out blown up batteries, what you got to be careful of is them catching on the spring and busting your spring off. So one of the ones that I thought didn't blow up had 5 batteries. That's kind of odd. Yeah, these all have exploded. Find a tool to work back. Yeah. Alright. That one's blown up. So far the springs are okay. This is the worst battery. That's not good. Another one. Okay. Springs are intact, but they're very dirty. So I'm going to have to get my tools to work on this now so we can determine what this even is and if we can get it working. There's your view of what we're dealing with here. A lot of corrosion inside here on those springs. Every battery blew up. Done this in other videos, but hey, we'll go over it again. If you want to try to clean up corrosion, the things you need are a small toothbrush, a flathead screwdriver, Q-tips, and some kind of vinegar. I ran out of white, so I'm using apple cider. It doesn't matter. It's going to smell a little different, I guess. So, first thing we got to do is get the bulk of the corrosion out. And you use the flathead for that to get between the, I don't know what you call it, the tines, the coils on a spring. And then you scrape where the spring actually touches down, because it compresses, and that's what makes the battery connect. So you want between all of those to be clear, and the front of it to be clear. Alright, I'm gonna dump this out. Alright, banged all that out. And use the toothbrush and kind of clean up between everything. Any one of these not connecting and it's not going to work. It's kind of a pain to figure out what battery is giving you a problem. I don't know if it'd be possible to use a voltmeter on this because it's only 1.5 volts. I haven't busted mine out. It's in my work bag. It generally hasn't been anything huge dollar volume that I have to do it with. And then when you get everything visibly cleaned out as well as you can, you do apple cider vinegar or any vinegar. Use a Q-tip. And you want to get a bunch of it on the Q-tip so it drips off the Q-tip and onto what you're working on. And you will hear a sizzle. And that's the acid eating the, I guess, the alkaline, because batteries are alkaline, so it does not like acid. I don't know if you'd be able to pick this up on the... I doubt that came across. It's not super loud. If I had not cleaned it, it would sound like Pop Rocks. Yeah, that's not good. That's very loud on the inside. So it might be that this has gotten way into the car, like if it was stored on its ass end. Like, that's what's coming out. If it was stored on its ass end and the the corrosion dripped inside the vehicle, I'm going to be selling this for parts because it's super loud. Ugh. But again, if it's $50, somebody would be willing to work on it to make money. With shipping and with what I paid for it, my break-even price is pretty much 16. And if that's all I can get out of it, then so be it. You take chances when you're buying stuff like this. But, you know, if I was only going to make $3 on it, I would have never even picked it up off the shelf. Because you take into consideration your risk that this isn't going to go well. But for $50, yeah, obviously I could do that. Yeah. All right, we're gonna throw some batteries in and see if that made a difference. If not, I can try to clean it out a little more. 5 batteries is a weird amount of batteries. I'm gonna have to steal them from something here. I'll make sure I have 5 functional batteries to begin with. Oh, whoops, grab the wrong ones. All right. 5 AAAs. So AAAs aren't even 1.5 volt. What are they? No, they are 1.5 volt. Okay. AA's are 1.5. Might be same voltage and sizes, indicate duration. Never really got into it. Oh, so something just flashed. Let's see. All right, lights are on. All right, we got radio. All right, so we have a lights on and headlights are on. Okay, it's just really hard to see because, oh, I guess the batteries are probably not very good. But the headlights are on. There we go. All right, and there's a radio. Radio is currently on low. I don't know how the radio works. Obviously, it's not making any noise. Oh, that's interesting. So it says in here, the lights use 3 AA's, and it's indicating the right 3. And the radio uses 2 AA's, and it is indicating the left 2. So it might mean that either these batteries are no good, or I have to clean the left 2 a little bit better. I don't know what scan and reset means. I don't know if this is... I don't know if Bluetooth phones in 2002 were really a thing. Like, if you could project music into this, I would be pretty surprised. Time frame wise, that doesn't sound like it's going to line up. I think I still had a flip phone in 2002. In fact, I don't even know if I had a phone in 2002. I didn't. I got my first phone in 2004, and I was weird, granted. But I think cell phones were not really common until around 2002. I had that, like, the Nokia ones everybody talks about, but at least around in rural New Hampshire, nobody had those. People would rocket those elsewhere. That's cool, but... Alright, so I'm going to move batteries over because I know these work. So we got radio. That is god awful loud. Where's it coming from? That is... Okay. All right.
She was finished. It was read out. How would it be received by the air? It needed to be ornate. It needed to be beautiful. It needed to...
Okay. That is creepy as hell. This picks up AM or FM radio signals because that was a legit broadcast. So I can't mess with that because I don't want to catch a copyright strike. Whoa. So that's an odd toy. I mean, I guess time-wise, it makes sense. So you use, it's like a legitimate old school FM radio where you hit the scan button to find stations that are coming in. This had to have been popular. I mean, obviously, when this came out, I was 20. I was definitely not buying cars like this, and I was a boy, so Bratz wasn't going to be for me anyways. But that's really an interesting toy. Alright. So now we know it works. So I don't think it moves. Like the wheel, I think, is just for playing. Like if you want to play and have a roll, kind of. But it's not even going to do anything. Alright. I got to take some pictures, and then we're going to start looking at pricing. I had to go show my wife because I thought it was really cool. It's definitely not a program. It picked up NPR. So it's actually a legit FM radio inside of this, which is kind of cool. So thinking about value here, everything on it works. And also, I didn't really show it, but there's a steering wheel, both a hard cover and a fuzzy cover, that were knocked off of the steering wheel. And I bet as a pain point, some of these aren't going to have that. So to determine value, we got 82. Lights, FM radio. A lot of these have stickers on them, so I'm just leaving them. This is the stickers it came with, I think. So we're looking at, let's see, 52. This one's 39 with 15 watchers. So that generally means if you list anything under 39, it's going to sell. And generally quick. I mentioned that in a video, like 2 videos ago, about How to Train Your Dragon Light Fury, and I already sold it. It was gone in like 12 hours because I looked at the watchers and I listed it for like $5 less and it was gone. So I'm thinking maybe 32 flat or 35, somewhere in there is going to make sense. Because I can tell by the shipping, this person lives close to me. It's showing me the shipping that I would pay if I were looking to buy it. Like the one up here is 12. This guy's probably West Coast. All right. And 19 watchers on this one. And that's West Coast, so it's too expensive at like $37. So if I get it down to 32, it will move. Almost guaranteed. And mine works. Seatbelts. This says seatbelts. I didn't notice. Yep, there are seatbelts. Okay. Do they unclip? Do I want to use my ham hands to figure it out? I'm not gonna. I bet they do. It's very intricate. So we'll look at sold. So we have 82 for sale, sold 36. That is an excellent ratio. So this one's selling, and that's a West Coast one. You can tell by the shipping price. This one's closer to home. Untested. And the horn does work on mine as well. Everything works on mine. So people are sitting on that watcher one, but I think we're going to do 22 plus shipping, because shipping's going to be about $10 because it is pretty weighty. Let me just get a weight on it It's going to have to be boxed because of the windshield. I could definitely see this breaking if I tried to do something stupid with 4 bubble wrappers or whatever. So this has to be a box. So we're looking at almost 4 pounds. Yikes, okay. So we're going to do 20 plus shipping then. It's going to wind up around that ballpark, but absolutely everything works on it. So that's pretty sweet. Let's see. So I'm billing for shipping, so the profit will be 20. Now let's move on to risk. Changed my mind. So I said 20. I started looking at the sold listings because I noticed they were all higher than what was for sale. So there's more pain points on that car than I realized. The upholstery comes off, the stick shift can break, the side mirrors can break, the spoiler can break. So mine is basically in perfect condition. So I started looking at the ones listed again in depth, going through the descriptions, and the ones that were listed for like, you know, $30 or whatever, had defects. So mine at 30 plus shipping with no defects, I should be able to sell this pretty easily. So on to something completely different now. We have Risk Europe. So Risk, the original game itself, doesn't really sell well. I've bought a few. I've ended up giving away and parting out some of them. However, the offshoots of the Risk franchise tend to go pretty well, depending on what they are. There's a futuristic one that's like Risk 2066 or something like that. Risk Legacy. So Risk Europe I've never seen. I looked at it because the box is immaculate. And looked it up, and it actually sells for quite a bit of money and had a good amount of them moving. So medieval take. I can see if I can figure out what year it's supposed to take place in. We got Madrid, Dublin, so it's going to be post Viking Age. Paris, Brittany, so definitely post Viking Age. Rome, Kingdom of Sicily, Athens, Constantinople, Kiev, might be like St. Petersburg. So I'm going to guess this is probably 1300s that it takes place. Might be the post Roman Empire. We'll get some tape off of this thing, and we'll just pause it. It's going to be noxious. There's a lot of tape on here. Alright. So all the tape's off. With the box in this condition, I'm hoping it's never been played. That does come up with strategy games. People buy them, and then they just can't find anybody to play them with, and they just end up never playing. Obviously, completion is going to be key. These do also sell for parts, so that's the other reason I grabbed it. It's $3, so put that back up. Not in the way. Spent $3 on it, so even if I could just sell it for parts, there's 5 or 6 sets of parts here basically. I get $3 for each as they sell. I'd have to keep it around quite a bit longer, but we have instructions. We've got purple, we've got orange. I'm gonna have to go through and count all this, which is no fun. But what you gotta do, we get the counters that I will also have to count. Look at our dice. That's kind of cool. It's Ballista. We got cavalry. Looks like a crusader. I don't know if these are color coded to an area. He's got a cross on his shield. Bowman. We have that's kind of standard, so that's a cross. So I don't know if this is like Crusades, like the later Crusades. So this dude's like a barbarian with 2 axes. This might be like Germania. I don't recognize that symbol at all. Battering rams. Castle tokens. Orange has catapults. That looks like a cataphract. This must be like Arab nations. Yeah, the guy's got like a light horse bow. That's like a Varangian guard, palace guard guy. And then purple, we got a trebuchet. So this is going to be the Franks or Prussians or whatever they're going to be called in this. Unless somebody stole the trebuchet at some point. I don't remember when trebuchets were introduced. It seems like it could be very late tech. I'm sure they worked better than cannons, at least initially. Trebuchets could throw for miles with incredible impact. I think they also wore down fast, but original cannons did as well. So hard to say. Yeah, because this looks like a Mongol, like a horse-mounted archer, like light armor. I don't know. It might actually tell you if you looked. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go through all these pieces and figure this out. Well, that was painful. A lot of counting, but I have absolutely everything. So on the pieces, I thought they were like regional armies. It's actually not any particular region. They just kind of spiced up the figures. You got like the double axe, clearly the Viking, but then you have crossbowmen, and crossbows in Europe were not from that area. They were Genoese, and then they moved up into France. So by the time they wouldn't have crossbows because the Viking era was over by then. So that wouldn't be them. And this guy is like a footman, but he's also like a Viking guy, a battering ram. And then these are kind of like European ones. So you got the cross, that could be like a Templar. And Crusades went for a long time. That was in 95, I think was the first one. And that's like a peasant archer. And then the knight is like a traditional knight with the barding on the horse. And then they have a ballista, which I think was actually Roman. Or this, they didn't call it the ballista. I think they called it something like a scorpion or something like that. Same idea. A big honking crossbow. And purple, you got, these are definitely like Middle Eastern guys. They have like the turban helmets with the light shields and the long, padded armors. And then the bow is like an Egyptian style bow with the curves on the end. But then they have a trebuchet, which they definitely didn't have trebuchets. They actually had cannons before anybody had cannons. They just worked like absolute dog shit and were impossible to really move around. And then they got like a steppe warrior light armor horse, which was Arab as well. And then for orange, you got like a dude with a poleaxe and a really long shield. So I'm not sure who that would be. Like the shields are kind of unique. I don't know. Historically, I'm not sure what this would be. could be like house calls from the beginning of the Viking era. I'm not sure how the horses were cataphracts. They have the mace and the completely armored horse. So that's a Middle Eastern thing. That's why I thought this was a Varangian guard. That'd be kind of an odd piece because they were only around for a few generations. It just kind of left an imprint historically. And this is definitely like a light bow. This could be from almost any era. But looks pretty Asian to me, the really small bows. But then catapults. I guess that's Roman. It came up at throwing a rock real hard was a pretty big deal for a great amount of history. So I'm not sure where the catapult actually came from now that I think about it. Anyways, that is Risk Europe. I got all the bells and whistles. And now we're just gonna figure out what we can sell it for. Alright. In my haste to count pieces, I'm trying to put it back. I'm like, why do the pieces keep flying out? Like, I can't get the lid on the box and then tip it without it like all coming apart. And I realized I didn't check to see if the game board was there. And it was actually under all that stuff. For some reason, they took out the center part and then put the board in and put that on top. So, opened up the board. It's immaculate. I don't believe this was ever played. The cards were all in the same like order they would come in if you never used the game. So, I think somebody bought it, unpacked it, and couldn't find a nerdy enough friend to play Risk Europe with. It also didn't help this came out during COVID. So, not a hot time for board games, I wouldn't think. Or maybe it was because couples were stuck inside, but I don't know. That was essential. I couldn't get out of that. Anywho, so we got 61 for sale. So this one is unpunched. So you would assume he'd be the top dollar. And that's that. $40. This one's 32 free shipping. 100%. So 32. Shipping, it's going to cost. Let me check. Looking at $11 to start. So I'm going to be about 20. That's probably going to be about right. If anybody's below that, I don't even want to be bothered with it, honestly. I paid $3 for it, so I'm not really going to suffer if I move it for 20. This one was 18, 30. And these are all pre-owned, and that's why I picked it up, is the pre-owned prices were good. And then this guy was selling replacement parts. I was getting $10 per army. So it was pretty low risk unless it was missing like half of every army and all that. So I think I'm going to just do 20 and shipping. More than fair. And billing for shipping, I will get the full 20. So not a bad day. $9 for 50. I do have to pack both things, which kind of sucks. I hate making boxes. Sometimes you nail it and you get like a perfect Amazon box that will fit in. I get a ton of boxes from my work in all different shapes. So sometimes I could manage to grab one of those and get something in there. Otherwise, I gotta make a box. That's a pain in the ass. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed that. Some very different stuff today. So if you like the reseller content, toy content, board game content, historical content, I guess we got in history today. Give a like, a subscribe, a comment. I appreciate all that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.